All right, welcome everyone to today's launch day live stream. First things first, I want to make sure my audio works. So if someone could just let me know in the chat if you're having any issues and I can fix that. While we're waiting for everyone else to join, just a few other things. There is a new trailer available and a launch trailer that was just released today. Just shared that on LinkedIn. Make sure to check that out, and if you want to support what I'm doing, I appreciate any shares, especially on LinkedIn. It's also available on YouTube. It's on our website as well. All right, so it looks like audio is working. As a reminder, the chat is working in this live stream, so make sure to stop by and say hi. And also, I'll be scanning it for questions throughout this live stream. I don't know how long this is going to take, probably not as long as the pre-launch live stream a few weeks ago, but I do want to spend as much time as possible answering any questions that any of you have. So let me switch to my other screen and we will get going on this. All right. So today is the big day we've been working towards for 2 years. Beyond CAD Vision is available in early access. So you can go to beyondcadvision.com. You can download the free trial, and you can do that by putting in your name and email address on the main page on the website. You can email with the download link. There is now a getting started video that will walk you step by step how to download and install Vision, and also subscribe on the website and then use that activation code to get started with the full version of Vision. So we appreciate all of you joining me and checking out that website. And let's get started with the questions. I want to start this first. You can see kind of my outline down here at the bottom. We're going to talk about some frequently asked questions first, and then we will talk about resources, and then we'll talk about what's next with Vision in the coming weeks and months, and then we will close with some live demos. And one thing too, if any of you are interested in Vision, you can download it, and there are example projects. So a lot of the media that you'll see on the website and on the launch trailer, that's available on a lot of these example projects that we have available right now on there. So when you download the program, the example projects are already downloaded with it, and you can get started. As a reminder, this will take a good graphics card, a good computer. I think most of you know that already, but just make sure that you have one of the later ones. The RTX 3000 series are preferred, but there are a lot of other graphics cards that will work too. All right, so let's get started with these questions. First one, how do I subscribe and download? We talked about that a little bit. Just go to beyondcadvision.com and you can go to download. You can put your email information in there. It will send you an email, and then you can download from that link. You can also go to the pricing subscribe page, and you can go there. So let me share that with you, and we'll just walk through that. All right, so this is the main page. We're gonna have this banner up at the top for a while, just showing the new trailer. Again, make sure that you check it out, and we appreciate all the shares. If you go here to this part of the main page, you enter your email address, first name, last name, company, and then click send the download link, and you should receive a link there to go and download it. If you want to subscribe, then you can click here. You can also click up here as well. That takes you to the same thing, which is the pricing page. So let's roll right into pricing. We have 3 tiers. We have the $250 a month for if you want to do month to month. And I set this up because I know that a lot of projects, they don't need visualization all the time. And so by doing month to month, you can just use Vision when you need to. Obviously, we want you to subscribe forever, but if you just need it for one project, you do have that option, paying a little bit more. The 6 month is kind of the Goldilocks zone. It's a little bit cheaper, but you're also not locked into a whole year. So that's $200 a month, which is $1,200 today. And then the full year, you're going to get $150 a month, which is $1,800 today. Again, if you go to that video, so you can click it here. You can also click it on the resources page. But that video is going to walk through step by step how to get that installed. And all the way through the end. I'm not going to watch it all, but feel free to go through. We just have a new launcher. Shout out to Tin for his work on that. I just closed my window. Let's get back there. And that's how you subscribe to Beyond CAD Vision. So again, let me know if you guys have any questions on that one, and we'll keep moving forward. All right, so we talked about how much Vision costs, and once you subscribe, that's going to give you that subscription ID, which you'll put in the getting started screen when you download, install, and open up Vision. And then that's just going to check to see if you're a paying subscriber. If you are, it'll remove the watermarks and you'll be able to get going. If you're not, then the watermarks will stay on there and you'll stay as a trial user. And then every month or the end of the term, whatever it is, 1 month, 6 months, or a year, then it will just charge your credit card information, and that's how the subscription works. So it's kind of like Netflix, but you have access to the unwatermarked version of Beyond CAD Vision. So what is early access? Early access is from now probably until the end of the year. So for the next 4 months, we're going to limit subscribers at 100 if we get that many, and we want to work with them directly to hopefully, obviously, they'll use Vision for their own projects and find value in it, but we want to refine it. We want to round off all the rough edges and keep making it better and better, and make sure that our support system and all of our systems, our subscribing, our support, our knowledge base, all that stuff works well and can support smaller numbers, so that next year hopefully we can do a full public access launch and be able to handle more and more subscribers as we move forward. This is a new thing. We're a small company. I don't anticipate having thousands of subscribers on day one. I do think it may take a while to get there, but we want to be prepared for that, because I do feel that over time we're going to have a lot of people interested in seeing the value in Beyond CAD Vision. So with the early access, you're going to have access to me. Anyone that subscribes for between now and the end of the month within that 100 will be able to set up a call for whatever that's worth. I am the #1 Vision user in the world right now. So I can walk you through your own projects. We can share our screen. I've done that with several of you already on just my own version or on the beta version. So that's one of them. We're also going to do weekly calls. So it'll be like a Zoom call, and everyone that's a subscriber will be invited to join, and that will be recorded. And so that link will be sent out unlisted to those that are subscribers. And there's not going to be any setup fees or any of the fees associated with this. You will obviously pay for a Vision, but you'll have unique access, and you'll have unique say in what's going forward, what Vision is moving forward. So we hope that you will check that out and help not only use Vision, hopefully, obviously you'll find use in Vision, but it also will support us and our continued progress of this. I've been using Vision for the last 6 months or whatever, it's been useful, but the last month it's really come together. And one thing that I think that has surprised me is how efficient it makes things. So things that used to take me days now take hours. And I think that's going to be one of the most valuable things. I mean, yes, we do have a 3D asset library that will obviously make things look better and be more efficient. And yes, it will look very photorealistic. But I think the biggest value is going to be how quickly you can put things together when you use some of the tools like the traffic, the placement tool, the interactive presentation, and all the other features that you'll see on the launch trailer and our website and everywhere else. So again, early access starts today. We hope that you'll support us if that's something that you will find value in. All right, the next question is, how often will it be updated? The short answer is we're not sure, but probably regularly. We're going to identify, we're always developing things, we're always improving things, fixing things, making new features, but how often we push those to our users is something we want to be flexible on. We don't want to do something that happens so often that it disrupts your own workflow. But it will be good. It will be a good habit and exercise when you get the Beyond CAD launcher installed to check for updates regularly, just to make sure that you have the latest version. So we're always going to be fixing things, but maybe every 2 weeks we will be pushing an update to the subscribers, kind of a public update. So make sure to check for updates. You can always ask us on when things are anticipated to be coming out, and I think that's something that all the early subscribers will appreciate, is just how tight the communication will be between us and them, not only on the training and support with the software, but also on what's coming up. And we're going to communicate quite a bit to these early access users. So check the update button, ask me. We'll probably be pushing a patch this week just to catch anything that wasn't available in this launch build. But then after that, we're not sure when the next one will be. So, and one thing to note too is today marks 1.0. So we've been doing beta. Today is the 1.0 version. With that is the things that I mentioned about, all the advantages and benefits of it. But also there are going to be some things that are clunky, are buggy. Some you might experience some crashes, and even with all that, and again, if you watch the launch trailer, everything in there we've made with Vision. So even with the 1.0 version of the software, it's extremely efficient, and I think that you guys will find that out as well. And we've heard similar things from a lot of those early testers. So please let me know in the chat if you guys have any questions as we move along. All right, so in addition to building Vision and getting it ready for this 1.0 release, we've also been developing a lot of resources. We want everyone that uses this software to have incredible support, and not only from us, from me and my team, but also just 24/7 on our website and through other support resources. So the first one is going to beyondcadvision.com. You guys already saw that. I want to kind of show what that looks like in case you haven't checked it out yet. So what's probably most beneficial for many of you is to go through all these features where you can learn more about each one. So core functionality. These are the things like importing meshes, surface textures, hierarchy organized, sun and clouds, render system. These are the things that any visualization engine needs to have. And so for each of these, you can read more about them. You can see all the file formats that we support. You can see how we're going to do future updates when we want to support proprietary file formats like DGNs and DWGs. We want, you can do surface texturing, hierarchy organization, which it's just, hierarchy organization, it's good and it's getting better, but that's going to be so powerful to be able to organize your project from when you very first start. Environment system, rendering, camera settings, and then all these other features. And again, you can read about all of these things. I'm not going to go through all of these. Obviously, you guys can go to the website yourself, but I do want to just kind of show how each one of these pages in itself digs really deep into what Vision can do. There should be a few questions left by the time you dig through this website. And I know a lot of you want to use Vision, but you need to convince other people that you work with that you need to use Vision. And I hope that this will be a resource for all of them as well. So this is that asset library. So these are all the subcategories. These are some more things, and you can learn about them. And again, one way to learn best is just to download the demo and try it that way as well. And then these are some of the more advanced things. Like I wanted to highlight the traffic system. And many of you that have been following know how we've really tried to make this as efficient and effective and realistic as possible. It will not solve all the problems in the world. You can't do a full city with this traffic system, but you can do projects no problem and very quickly. We have this nice color coding that matches the UI and matches the paths when you place them, so you can easily identify which colors they are. And then let's see, just one more visual experiences. This is my favorite way to present projects. You can use a touchscreen. I know many of you won't have a touchscreen, but you can do interactive mode where you can switch between cameras and navigate with a nice clean UI. And I just want to take this moment to shout out to my team. I mean, Ben has been working on this presenter mode. Tim did the launcher and the traffic system. Aaron did the hierarchy and the placement tools and so many other things. John did the overhead sign. Adam and Nathan did a lot of testing. Nathan did the asset library. So there's just so many things that my team's been amazing. They truly have, and I appreciate them. So check all of that. And then I want to go to resources. First, I want to go to 3D modeling resources. So for those of you that don't know, I started a company called CivilFX 7 years ago. I sold it last summer to Parametrics, and we've partnered with them to have an ongoing relationship where they will be our preferred partner in modeling. So a lot of the projects that you see, you'll notice that they look really nice. They have buildings, they have custom light poles and all these things that took time to model, and that was what CivilFX did. So if you need that kind of modeling for your project, if you have the design files, but you need to take it to visualization level 3D modeling, we encourage you to reach out to them, and they can get you a quote. They can either do it all, do the visualization all, or they can get it ready, and then you can do the visualization step in Beyond CAD Vision. So if you go to latest updates, many of you will know that I'm very active on LinkedIn, constantly posting updates, several a week, and so that's where you can see all of them. You can go to the LinkedIn group, you can go to our YouTube channel, and then you can go to our tutorials. This is probably where I've been spending most of my time over the past couple of weeks, and on each of these I go through a project and kind of show step by step how you build that project. How do you texture things? How do you place assets? I talk through any bugs. I talk through the features. I do it all in real time, all just screen captured. I'm not the most interesting person in the world, so you do have to sit through me talking through these. But there are now probably 4 hours of these walkthrough videos. And one thing I want to stress about Vision 2 is it's not super complicated, and that's by design. It's a visualization tool built for a very specific purpose, and so you can't dig too deep into it by design. And so if someone wanted to get to learn Vision, then you could do it by downloading it, subscribing, installing, using it, watching these tutorial videos, and I'll bet in a week of using it a considerable amount, and you would be very proficient. And I think you'll notice that when you watch these walkthrough videos. And for each one, I kind of list the things that I walk through in them. Now we have 5 different walkthroughs. One of them is just this custom sign creator, it's just amazing to see in action. And then we're gonna have more. I'm working on more of them. A lot of them we're partnering with CivilFX. These are projects that we worked with on for clients, and we've received permission from the clients. A lot of them have ended up being example projects. So I kind of work through and build them and visualize them, and then we publish them as example projects so that when you're using Vision, you can go through and you can see them yourself. You can navigate them. You can change things. You can texture them. You can delete things and add things. The example projects are fully interactable and customizable. So make sure to check out the resources. This is that getting started video I talked about, which will be very helpful if you're going to download and install Vision. All right, so support. This is our knowledge base. I've been working on this for a while, and there are over 100 articles, and each one will tell you something very specific at how to do it. And you can search if you want to learn how to change the time of day. You search that, and there's an article on it, and it tells you how to do it. A lot of times there's a GIF showing you how, and then you can even click the video tutorial link, and that will that's going to show a section in one of those walkthrough videos. That didn't work. We'll get that fixed. But that's going to show one of the timestamps in those walkthrough videos where you can see how to do it specifically. So there are, in addition to the knowledge base articles, there are frequently asked questions. So really, I think if you went through this, if you're interested in the software, if you went through the frequently asked questions, it's going to answer most of your questions. If you have more, you can always reach out to me. LinkedIn's a really good place to connect, and I think you'll see pretty quickly that there are a lot of good information already available. And then another thing to note too is you go over here in the help, and this is the knowledge base as well. So if you wanted to place a traffic path, there it is right there, and you can go, let's see if this link will work. Okay, that one worked. If it didn't make you watch an ad. So that little help bottom at the bottom, it's also going to show you how as well.
And we have 5 different types of traffic in Beyond.
So if you need support, this is also where you go for support. So you go to contact us, and then you can put your name, email address, subject, description. You can take a screenshot if you're having issues, and then you can also upload files. And I talk about in the knowledge base what to do if you experience a crash. You can zip up those files, and you can send them. You can upload them here, and we'll receive them, and then we can debug them and try and get them fixed in future updates. So this is the best way to contact me and the development team, and it's always available right here on the website, on the PC version, on the mobile version, on the tablet version. So Todd, appreciate your comments. We are trying to cover all the painstaking issues that other software has. One is because we're users of a lot of other softwares, and 2 is because we want our users to have support in such a way that doesn't require us. You know, if we are going to scale and get more and more subscribers someday, we want to have a really good support system so that most of those things can be handled through just going to our website, and especially as we're trying to scale up our own team, because as we get more subscribers, we will need to get more support, and we just don't have that a lot right now. I'm probably going to be most of the support for better or worse right now. So make sure and check out all of the information on the website. If you're interested, I think you'll find a lot of that very helpful. All right, so let's go back to our video. And we talked about direct support and coaching. Again, we'll be doing weekly calls that will be invitation only to subscribers. We'll be recording those and sending out the recorded versions to subscribers. And then if anyone using Vision is having issues of any kind, they can just reach out to me, and I will try and schedule a Zoom call one-on-one, and I'll try and walk through it. Again, I am the world's best Beyond CAD Vision user. There's no doubt in my mind. So you have access to me for what it's worth. But I do hope that in the coming weeks that someone will surpass me, because I'm not that talented. I'm not an artist. I am not a visualizer any more than what I've done over the past couple of years. My background's in civil engineering, so I really can't wait to see what real artists can do with Vision on some really cool projects. All right, so let's talk about what's next. Continue polish on Vision through updates, as I mentioned before, weekly sometimes every other week. Eventually we want to settle into something more like a month, a cadence that's comfortable for our development team and isn't too much for each of you. But we want to be pushing out updates and making sure that all those issues that you're having, if you're having them, all the requests that we can get to, we want to get them fixed in a timely manner, and that's how they're going to be handled. And so when you go to the launcher, you want to check for updates. Let me show how that's done actually. So this is the launcher, the new launcher that we have. When you start it, when you download it, it's going to be like this. You can do more info to have links to the website and such, but you want to go to products, and you're going to go to here, and you can go to launch the software, and you can go to update. And I'm going to start launching that just because I want to do demos, but you do want to click here to check updates as well. So that's how it's done. You'll see there's 3D Typical Section Creator coming soon, and that a few things about that. One is it's not going to be available for launch. That's just something that we didn't polish it enough, but we're close. We probably have a month or two more on that, and that's actually going to be a standalone application. And we're doing that because Vision is going to be Vision's like 26 gigabytes initial download, and then when it's extracted, it's going to be like something like 60 to 70 gigabytes. So you make sure you have enough storage. But for those that want to use a typical section creator, it's going to be much smaller, less than a gigabyte. And so we wanted to make it so that they could download and use that without having to download all of Vision. So it's not going to be integrated right within the Vision interface. It's going to be its own application, which I think a lot of people will really appreciate that. And actually, while we're pulling up Vision, I'm going to pull up the typical section creator and show how that works in the early version. So again, I know a lot of you have joined. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any comments? Appreciate all of it. All right, let me go to my typical section creator. And it's right here. And then Vision has launched as well, and I'm going to start. This is what the main menu looks like. When you start, you're going to see the license, and that is going to let you use Vision without watermarks when you get that put in. Excuse me. So you go to example projects, and we have 4 right now, and I'll go to this historic West Side Park. Todd's asking about the typical section creator. Is it extra cost? It is not. It's definitely not for the early access users. We don't know in the future if it will be when we do the full public access launch, but we do. It will definitely be free to early access users. Nathan asks, does it work outside the United States? It should. It should work on any Windows 10 PC. I think it'll work with Windows 11 when that comes out. But we haven't spent a lot of time on stuff outside the US as far as like vegetation and signage and units, those sorts of things. But we will, so it just depends on where our users come from. So make sure to, if you are from somewhere else, make sure to let us know that your country deserves the treatment, and we will try and get you, get those things customized for you. All right, I found the typical section creator I was looking for, and I will launch that while I'm launching Vision, and hopefully it doesn't all crash at the same time. All right, so this is the typical section creator. If you go up here, we're gonna have presets. So if you want to do divide highway, have this. You'll see the cars are going in different ways, and you want to switch that to backward. So it has a lot of the functionality it will for the final one. It's just we're gonna switch out like higher quality assets like cars and trees and such. So, but for the most part, it looks like this, and then you can just drag and drop stuff right in real time. And so again, you can change the texture if you wanted to do some sort of construction thing. We have bicycle path if you want to add bicycles. When you do that, there will be a cyclist riding on it. You can change the width. So if you want to go here, you can change the width of that. You can change the spacing of the assets. That doesn't work yet. And then something happened with our guys where they're driving backwards. And then you can change the cameras. And then you can tighten in the field of view if you want to do isometric view. and then you can do orbit, like that. So this, and I want to be very clear that this is just for visualization. This isn't something that you'll do and then it's going to create a road with that typical section profile. This is just if you're in a planning meeting or if you're trying to do some sort of communication that you want to create some really nice pictures for it. That's what this is. Pictures, videos should all happen really quickly. All right. So a couple other questions. Juan's asking, will Vision have a viewer? I think what you're asking is like, can you publish it so that your client can use it? Right now, no. I mean, there's the present mode within Vision, which is really cool. So if you want to show stuff to your clients, my advice is to, the best option is to do image or video renders, send them to your clients. Or something that happens a lot, and I've had these conversations with a lot of beta users as we've had calls, we'll be showing Vision live stream, on Zoom or Teams or whatever, and I'll be working through a project and they can see it and I can see it, and then they'll ask, what sort of viewer is there? And my answer is we're getting there, but also we're also doing that right there. So the technology for video conferencing has gotten so good that right now you can do a lot of that. Eventually we will do publish to web type stuff, and the ultimate goal is to do cloud GPU streaming, because that's what I think that's going to make it accessible to the most number of people, because then you won't even need to have a graphics card and you'll be able to fully view the project. All right, so this is historic Westside Park. Shout out to Lage Design. They're a landscape architecture firm here out of Vegas, and they did the modeling in SketchUp. And shout out to Nathan and Natasha Ledbetter. Nathan did a lot of the vision work in here. So he took the SketchUp stuff, he brought it into Vision, textured it, and then I did some finishing touches, which is one of those walkthrough videos. So you'll see me often, I like to tighten in the field of view. It's just one of the things I think it makes it look better. But you can completely work in this project. So you could delete these, you could add more, you could make it into whatever you wanted. When you save it, you'd need to save it as a new file because it's not going to save as the example file. So save it with a new name, and then you can access it again. But most of the time, you're going to be, I like to have the traffic moving. And when I say traffic, I mean pedestrians too. They're part of the same traffic system. And I build with the traffic on, I texture with the traffic on, I do a lot of these things because it's just one of the advantages. You're going to see also, sorry, I'm just trying to get my thing so it's not so blurry. So you're going to see all these little vision dots, these selector icons, and that just makes so that you can select stuff. They show up when the cursor's near it, and that's how you edit and move things around. So if I wanted to edit this guy, I can select him. And for those that used the beta users, the transform widget didn't work super well early on, but it's gotten a lot better. So feel free to give it another try for that. Another question, can Vision be configured to use metric instead of Imperial? The short answer is not yet. The more complicated answer is there are some things in here that are metric. I mean, for example, you can see the sensor width millimeters, which is just more common with photography and stuff like that. So we do want to make, in the settings panel, we want to make it so that you can switch between Imperial and metric units. But we don't have that yet. Speaking of stats, this is something kind of new, and you can go and see the frames per second, the polygons, the assets. I'm using a GTX 1080 Ti, and I'm using, my screen right now is on 1080p resolution, and I think that is that's helping things. Usually I'm working in 4K. So, and then also, any other questions? All right. And then something I want to show as well, which is really cool, is pretty soon, probably within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have first person and third person view. bring this over here. Shout out to Ben from our development team doing this, and this is going to be really cool. And you might have the option to use the Unreal Engine robot guy, but we want to make it so you can choose one of our animated characters, and then you can walk around the project with clients in real time. Again, you'll need a graphics card, but you could do it remotely. And then pretty soon you'll be able to do first-person view as well. So that's some exciting stuff moving forward. And let me know in the comments, not only questions, I appreciate those, but if you guys have something specific you want to see me do or use, with the caveat that things may crash in live demonstrations, live streaming. That's just how things tend to work. So I'll show how you can place things. If we wanted to go, we were talking about signs earlier. You just click it, and then it attaches to the cursor, and then you can place those. And they follow the terrain. So if you want to place them on top of that sign, you could. And then once you place them, you can select them and rotate them, scale them, and all of that is in the organize panel. So if you want to scale it 2 times, then you just do that. And I don't have this all organized, but this is where you can put everything into categories and subcategories and keep moving on. All right. Kurt's saying this is going to be used by public transportation multimodal offices. I sure hope so, Kurt. I think they'll find it super useful. There's a website called Street Mix that's, I think, used by a lot of those types of firms, where it's a 2D typical section creator. And I'm hopeful that our 3D typical section creator is going to be like that, but on steroids and in 3D, where stuff is animated and realistic. So I think there's going to be a lot of uses for vision for people that haven't had tools made for them before. I want to talk through some of the new stuff. We're making it now so that when you're in one panel, you can't close or open the other ones. That was something that was kind of confusing before. So you have to go close it, and then you can go open another one, and you can turn things off like that. All right, so studio mode. One also asked, can you add the utilities? I think you're talking about the typical section. Not right now, but eventually we want to do some subsurface work as well. I think that'll be a really good format for them. All right, Pablo's asking, does Vision support animated FBX? I don't believe it does. I've never tested one, but we've never done specific development for that. But that is something really good that you bring up, because I'll get that on our list of things that we need to get to. That's something that I used in other visualization engines before. And one thing to note is Vissim support. That's something that I know some people are interested in. We don't have that now. That's not going to be available at launch. And the reason we didn't do it is because it's just a more complicated problem, and we're really trying to make this version of Vision as good as we can. But by the end of the year, we might have it, and definitely next year. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you guys want to use Vision and you're like, man, this would be amazing if I could just import my Vissim file, let me know, because if enough of you say it, we will bump it up the priorities, the development priority, and make it happen. So that's how this process is going to work with this early access. All right, so when you go into present mode, this is my favorite way to view the project. You've seen me on my touchscreen. I have it over here. I'm not using that today, obviously, but you can do it with your mouse and laptop just fine the same way. And if you go to the cameras, you click on them, and then they're just animated. All right, so Juan is saying yes. I think he's responding to Vissim and Synchro. Synchro, Juan, it doesn't even work. Like, you can't even export the geospatial data from Synchro, from my understanding, talking to other users and developers. So if you know how to do that, let me know. But I think it's going to be like Vissim, AimSun. I don't know what all the other ones, but I know AimSun you can export FZP files, which are the Vissim files, and that's how we've done it. And we started it, and we could make it work, but making it work well is the challenge. And Pablo's got to give me another vote for Vissim. and the one thing you guys are gonna have to convince me of is that Vissim is not only that you need it, but enough of you are gonna need it that can also do the modeling. Because that's the hard thing is you have Vissim users, but they just use a flat plane. And then those projects often don't have really good 3D modeling, or it's not built the same way. And so those projects are rare in my experience. But again, if you guys convince me otherwise, if you're like, no, we do projects all the time where we have an InfraWorks file and it's in 3D, or we have a Civil 3D file and it's in 3D, and our Vissim stuff matches directly on top, then let me know and we'll do it. Because my fear is that we spend all this time developing it, and then there are 2 people that ever have projects that would use it. So please keep banging that drum and convince me otherwise. Also in Studio Vision Studio, which is down here at the bottom, we already showed kind of the render, which is where you set up these cameras. So if I wanted to set up another one, let's go over here to these ladies. And let's say I wanted to kind of tell their story. And if you hold down space while you use WSD, it slows things down. If you hold down shift, it speeds things up. That's one of hundreds of little things that have happened in the last month or 2 that have made it better. And so you can see the camera right there. And another thing too is some of my videos you'll see people walking fast or walking slow. And you can do that with video editing, but you can just do it right here in the slider and then just render it. And I show how to do that in those walkthrough videos. And he is stepping on their toes. So if you slow it slows down the camera and the animations, which is kind of nice to do some quick stuff. The sequencer, this is, to be honest, it hasn't even been tested that much, but you can add these cameras in, zoom out, and then add another track, and we're going to do guy, and we're going to add text. So Pablo's asking, can the camera within Vision be manipulated like in 3ds Max or Unreal? I think you're asking, can you like step back third person and select the camera and move it? The answer to that is not, no, but you can do some cool stuff with cameras. And I show that, I think it's the 3rd Street project walkthrough. I show how you can do that using our path cameras, where you set up a path, a traffic path, and then you go and you can attach the camera to that path. So for those of you that have used stuff like 3ds Max, Vision's going to feel very simple. Like we're not building it for Max users. We're building it for people that have never done visualization before or haven't done it that much. So if you have used Max, if you have used Maya and Cinema 4D and all these software programs, and you want to use Vision, we hope that you will and that you'll find it useful. But we're mostly making it as simple as possible so that the engineers and designers doing the 3D modeling can be able to visualize their own projects. So, so anyways, the sequencer, you put these in here and then you can move them around just like you would in video editing. And our goal here is to get fully published videos straight out of Vision. Some of you probably have some sort of workflow with post-processing using Premiere Pro or Final Cut, and that's fine. But for those that don't, and again, a lot of our target users for Vision are going to be people that have never done visualization before. We want them to be able to go from CAD straight to processed final video, and this is getting better and better, the sequencer. Shout out to Ben for his work on this. And now you can even create 4D phasing bar. So if you go into the Gantt chart and you do phasing, I don't have phasing on this project, but you set that all up and then you go to sequencer and you drop that in, then it will do the phasing and you can stretch that out. So it's going to match the frames of the phasing to the frames of the video. And so the phasing will happen when you render. If you have a lot of assets, just to warn you, it's going to be super slow, but you will be able to render that and it will look really smooth. So these are new things, and we can't wait for you guys to be testing them out. All right, so I showed how to set up the cameras, and again, Pablo, to do the path camera, you go here, and traffic needs to be off. And then, so I selected this path. This one's going to be kind of funny because it's just a person. But then it's just going to follow that path. And from that, you can do offsets and you can do tilt angles. And it's all attached to that same camera. And when you watch my launch trailer, a lot of the views you see are views where I use path cameras and use them in cinematic and creative ways. So once you get the path selected, then you can turn this back on. I like to speed up the traffic just to get them all to the ends of their paths. And then there you go. You have your camera. So in seconds, you can set up really cool cinematic cameras. One asks a good question about, can you add company watermark logos? I'll bet you're talking about the sequence mode. Not yet, but definitely that's going to be something we want to add because I've been there before. You want to, any company, any client, they're going to want their watermark on there. So right now you'll have to do post-processing if you want to do that. But again, I think a lot of these simpler things like that will be available in the coming weeks. And you can imagine by the time we end early access, which again I think will be the end of the year, early next year. And when I say early next year, I literally mean like January 4th. Then there's going to be even more features and polish on this. All right, Todd's asking about striping. So striping is just, it's a hard problem that is typically solved before vision because, I mean, there are several ways you can do it. One of them is geometry. These were done using geometry. We do have a trick you can use. Again, if I crash, then we may just end this call early because it's happened before. Let me shut off our guys, and then we want to go to import custom. And then you select one of these, and it can do, so if you know how to do your striping with the UVs following it, then you can go in and do those striping patterns. And I show that on some of the walkthrough videos, like the Boulder City one. That's how Civil FX set up the striping, was the UVs of the stripes were mapped along that striping path. And so when I painted it, then the stripes just showed up. So a lot of times the modeling is gonna have to be done beforehand. I think this is a good time to point out. Okay, let me turn on my traffic again. All right, Kurt's saying traffic analysis is a need, but smart traffic modeling with intersection control is a wide need. Okay, I think he's giving some props to our advanced traffic system where you can set up an intersection controller very easily. So let me, on the topic of markings, striping, let's go to transportation and go to pavement markings, and we have a ton of pavement markings on here, and so you're going to want to check these out and use them. These aren't going to make sense. Let's give something that will at least make sense. So you saw how quick that was, and you guys may have seen that you can turn off the shadows for pavement markings. We also have a little trick up our sleeve, which is all of these pavement markings, the shadows are already turned off. Shout out to Aaron from our development team, who thought of that. And so you will never see stripes. I guess you'll probably have to turn them on manually if you want them for these. So we have, handicap. This is a good one for a parking lot. So you just go and you rotate it, and then you have your handicap parking spot, just like that. So we're trying to do as much on our end with the striping as we can, but it's just one of those hard things where it's going to take oftentimes modeling on the modeling end to get it done and get it done right. So we do want to have more advanced tools in the future, like things that will help UV map along stripes and such, but we don't have any of that right now. Someone mentioned a traffic controller, and I mean, this is out in the distance, that's why we don't have striping or anything, but I think we do have an intersection controller right here. Yes. All right. So you can see them waiting for the traffic in conflict. Right now it's just 2-stage intersections, but we do plan to make it 4-stage pretty quick at least. And then I know, some intersections have up to 8 stages. And the way that that's done is you go, again, we got to close this, you go to the traffic, you go to our traffic group. All the traffic can be phased just like anything else if you're doing phasing, which is cool. And this is the intersection controller. So if we wanted to shorten the interval for our signals, then we go to 30 and we do that again. And now it's going to be, let me do it back to real time. So now it'll be a 30-second traffic signal interval. So this isn't the best project to show it on because it's a park project, but I think you see what I mean. All right, so we're running to the end of what I've had planned. We talked about the typical section creator, all the new features. You can learn about them on the website. We'll be doing more features like the VisIm and the terrain import, the terrain in streaming. Those are the big ones that we wanted to have, but we just didn't get for the early access. And probably the biggest reason is because they involve other people for data, other people for testing, other people for all sorts of things. And so that's why we just kind of push them further back in our development. I know people would have loved them, but to be honest, if we would have rushed them forward, they wouldn't have worked well anyways. So we want to make sure that those get built just in a time that makes sense. So please become an early subscriber or an early access subscriber if this is something interested. Don't do it for us. Do it because Vision's useful. But I just want to reiterate, those that do subscribe, you're going to have a lot of say in what happens over the next 4 months as far as our development and our priorities. So Juan and Kurt, appreciate your kind words and all of your support. So that's all I have. I have some other projects. My recommendation on those is to go watch the walkthroughs, because if I went through them right now, it would be very similar. Those are more in depth. I really want to set this time apart for the any questions. So this is your last call for questions. I'll open Vision up and just kind of play around in it while we are waiting for questions. So Todd, would I be interested in writing an article for your magazine? Absolutely. I would be honored. I think that would be fantastic. So make sure to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure you have my email address as well. That would be awesome. So while I'm waiting for questions, again, last call for questions or comments or whatever you guys want to say, because we're going to end this. I will show the sign creator tool. One note too, maybe we should start out with this. The sign creator, well, I did start out with this maybe before some of you joined, but you can't save it yet. So that will probably be available this week or next week in one of the updates. So there are 2 options. You can do a current scene or you can do a blank scene. Juan, you're interested in pipes. I get it. To show pipes creatively right now, actually, you know what I do? Let's quit this. So one thing we have is the bounding box, Juan. And what it does is let's show the bounding box. Maybe I can show this. This is a great big project. It would take me a while to find this, but basically it cuts off the terrain, and you can see my walkthrough videos of that. But one thing about this is if you want to go to use gradient background, and then you want to zoom out far enough, then what it does is it hides the ground plane and it hides the sun. You still have your clouds. You can go turn off the clouds if you want to. And you are a civil guy, Juan. So anyways, but if you wanted to do the modeling in something like, if you wanted to do the modeling in some modeling software, whatever you use, 3ds Max, SketchUp, whatever, and then import it into Vision, and you have those pipes shown, I would just go to use gradient background. It will shut off our ground plane, and then you'll be able to see it. And then you can use everything else the same. You can use the assets, the cameras, and all those things. If I have long enough, let me you know, I'm going to close Vision and I'm going to start again. One other pro tip is if you launch Vision within the like if you're in a Vision file and then you go open another one, it's not as stable for whatever reason. We're working on that, but closing Vision and then opening a new file is going to give you better support. So let me go to this bounding box and show how, one, you can do your pipes. It's going to take a few more steps than the full version, or, you know, like a year or two from now when we have all the subsurface stuff all ready to roll and we have it in our typical section creator. I think you would be able to use this pretty easily. That loaded quickly. All right, so this is a photogrammetry. Shout out to all the photogrammetry users out there. This is a mesh that we brought in. Nathan's asking about coordinate systems. So right now, things will import relative to each other. So if they export with the same settings, they'll come in together. And you can see that they go to my Boulder City Parkway walkthrough video, or maybe that's the only one where I import multiple files. But they'll all come in adjacent to each other if they're exported together. We don't have global coordinates supported this time, but we do want to look into that. So if I go to my bounding box and I want to, this is just kind of cool because you can do ground bands. So you'll see down here at the bottom, you can control the look. And then if you don't like the color, then you can tone it down, desaturate it. You can also do the bottom bound. You could go crazy if you wanted, but we don't want to do that, so go back to brown. And then these side segments, if you only wanted 10, then it's not going to follow the terrain as closely. One, I am glad you brought this up because it's given me an excuse to play with the bounding box. So yeah, I think you could do some cool stuff with this, because if you take off use gradient background, you're gonna have our white ground plane and you're gonna have the sky. You take that away and then you can go control the color, and I think you could do some cool stuff either with the bounding box feature as the way we've developed it, or with with your own imported mesh. I think you could do some really cool stuff using all of the assets that you know and love from Vision. You know, these are just super high quality assets. So 1400 plus at this point. And we do have a little bit of a texture, and we'll add more features. This bounding box is basically hot off the press. Shout out to Ben for his work on that. So anyway, glad I could show another project. I was going to show the sign tool. You know, we'll go create this one in place because it's a good project that would use it. So this is John. He's done the work on this, and it's just so cool to see how this works. So right now I'm doing nothing other than just setting it in the scene, and then I want to rotate it on my Z a little bit. And that'll be fine, and then confirm placement, and then you select these and you can position it. So let's make this one over this lane. And I just want to reiterate, like, this is a live demo I wasn't planning on doing, just to show like how quickly you can do these things. And this, you can export these sign files as 3D files. It's just for Vision, and it's just to make your projects look more realistic and better, so that you can show them how they're actually going to be. Overhead text 1. So Todd's asking, after the sign is placed using the sign creator, can you edit the placement or rotation after it is placed? You know what, Todd, I will show you that after this. So you go to, so as text 2 selected, I'm going to bring that down. You can add decals, including highway badge, or these fractions, which are very common. and you can shrink the size of those. So you guys are asking about pivot points being modified, and the answer is yes, and I want to show that. So if you were saying, certain road is a quarter mile ahead, then you can do that, and then it zooms you out automatically. It does this stuff all automatically. You go edit sign detail, and then we'll just call this one second sign. And then we're going to end it. And then this is the part I really like, is you can change the type, because not all signs are created equally. So we have a tube structure. I know that it's not the exact tube structure that Kurt uses. We'll get to you someday, Kurt. But we do have these 3 different kinds. So let's go to triangle, and let's say that we want to publish it. So once you publish it, it's going to have that vision icon, and then you can, something's going on with it. You should be able to edit it. Let's go to the organize tab and see if I can do it there. Yeah. So something's going on with the transform widget, but you could move the placement. We don't have the ability to edit the sign after it's published yet, but we definitely want to do that. So hopefully this answered your guys' question. I mean, again, you could do the Z. I didn't show it, but you can do like a base for each of those poles, which is helpful. And then you could scale it if you wanted. You could do all these things. I also didn't show it, but you can scale the height and the width of the sign in the sign creator. I just wanted to publish it to show those things. So, okay, so the widget is there. It's just hard to see something. I think it's the bounding box actually that's doing that. Okay, just another one of the little quirks. We're going to call them quirks that you may find along the way. All right. I think we've gotten to the end of our questions. It's been an hour. You guys have been amazing. Appreciate all the support. This video will be available later for viewing or to return to and watch it again. If you haven't already, check out the trailer. I appreciate any of you guys being able to share that trailer on LinkedIn to help boost it as we try and get the word out about this early access. So I'm going to end this, and it's been an honor to be with all of you. So this is Sam Lytle. I am the founder of Beyond CAD, the creator of Vision, and this was the early access launch live stream. Again, I thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to working with you, hopefully as subscribers during